Back in July of 2016, Greg Lovelady was named head coach for UCF baseball after a very successful 3-year stint as head coach at Wright State, which included back-to-back NCAA regional finals. Success UCF fans would like to see the Knights have soon. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by Knightline.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Taking a quick look at the weather in Dayton, Ohio, where Wright State is located, shows temperatures in the 30s. How are you surviving our Central Florida winter?
I'm definitely surviving, that's for sure, but enjoying it. I mean, it's good to be back in Florida and getting to enjoy this nice weather. Definitely having to retrain myself coaching-wise. Just not used to being outside like this. So it was a little bit of a, we had something happen in the fall where it was like I was talking and Closty, my assistant, who's been here, kind of just said, well, what do you mean? Like, we get to do it when we get back, and kind of had just forgot. Normally I had to get some things done at the end of the fall, so it was just kind of funny. But the same thing, having to retrain my brain. But definitely enjoying it, that's for sure.
Coach, you had a tremendous 12-year run at Wright State, including a record of 124-56 in the past 3 seasons as head coach. What attracted you to the UCF job?
I mean, I think a lot of things. One, I think it's always been a job that, in the back of my mind, I always thought that could be a premier program in the entire country, and just seeing it grow over the last, 15 years especially. Just obviously knowing my ties to Florida and knowing the university well and whatnot, having some friends and family friends go here, and just, again, seeing how great the conference is just all these things that were, appealing to me for over the course of the last few years. And then obviously once kind of, it started going down where I was in the mix and doing my research, and then obviously getting to meet, Danny White and having his vision for what the athletic department was going to be like, and knowing that you're going to have somebody like that on your side, that's trying to help and build and be on, and help you build that, that premier program. I think that's a big part of having an administration that cares and that wants you to succeed is a big part of this. So seeing that made it obviously a lot easier, and again, just kind of helped me fall more in love with the place. And it was just something that I felt like, obviously the nicer weather, the talent, the conference, and obviously for me, for some family reasons, it just was a no-brainer. And I've told everybody I was extremely, extremely happy at Wright State. Really had a good setup and a good situation, and there was only a handful of jobs that I really would ever consider leaving for. And this was one of them. And just getting here and seeing it, you could tell that this was going to be a special place.
The Knights have had some success over the years, but winning, as you played on not one but 2 College World Series winning teams at Miami in 99 and 2001. Talk about the importance of establishing a winning culture at UCF.
Well, I mean, culture is everything to me. It's kind of the foundation of my coaching philosophy. I believe that it's something that really sets the standard, and I believe that that's not something that I just create. I think that's something that the whole staff creates, and I believe that the players create that. And so we talk a lot about culture and why it's so important. And again, I mean, I think when you look back at Miami, there was just a culture there when I came of winning and expectation of going to Omaha and doing those kind of things. It's something that you signed up for, that you wanted to live up to, and that you wanted to be the next in line. And so we're going to try to do something that's very, very similar here, and we want the kids to understand that the past is very, very important to our future, and understanding the people that have come before us, and that it's not just about the guys in the locker room, but about all the people that have played here and that care about our program and that support our program, and that we just don't go out and play for us or our families, but we play for all of the UCF baseball community, and a lot of that is alums, and that I want those guys to be able to turn on the TV and say that's my team, that's my program, and to be proud of that. And so, but definitely, the culture is moving in the right direction. I'm very, very excited. These kids have done a phenomenal job of buying in, but it's uberly important for us to create that culture and make sure that we're following that on a daily basis.
Well, as a longtime follower of UCF baseball, I've been especially interested in your staff's approach to improving nutrition and weight training as the Knights get ready for this 2017 season. How have you revamped those 2 areas?
I think part of the culture for me, I think weightlifting and nutrition are almost at the very top of the list. I don't think that I think it's even with catching a baseball or hitting a baseball or pitching or whatever. It's all to me the same because I think you can be a great baseball player, but if you don't lift the right way and you don't eat the right way, you don't get the maximum out of your ability, and you have breakdowns and injuries, and your body starts to disintegrate over the course of the season, and that's something that you have to be able to fight. And so, just the way we're teaching the kids how to eat, when to eat. Our strength coach, Jamie Burleson, does a phenomenal job in the weight room. So he's changed the whole weight program, which is just much more individualized, much more based on pitchers and hitters, and then pitchers' work weeks, and that they just don't lift on certain days as a team, but they lift on certain days individually to make sure that their body is, as a pitcher, you don't want guys lifting too close to when they're going to throw in a game. But you also want them trying to the lifting right after they throw or the day after they throw is, I think, a really big part of the recovery phase. So, Jamie's done a phenomenal job, and then again, just trying to get the kids to understand the importance of nutrition and understanding that if you want to, throw harder, longer, then you have to be able to eat right and train your body right and put the fuel in it that it needs. And again, not just saying, hey, you need to eat right because that's the way I said it, but teaching them why. And again, at the end of the day, we need to be our best in May. And then the only way you can do that is if you train your body and fuel your body the right way. So we've changed everything. We feed the guys a lot. We provide a lot of meals to them, and that way we can control what they're eating. And then again, trying to keep them fueled, having snacks here for them to eat, and making sure that those, we're buying the snacks so that way we know exactly what's going into their body, what they're able to snack on. And again, teaching them, understanding that the snacking is not a meal replacement, but just something that, you got to eat every 2 hours and be able to put the right things in your body and try to hit certain numbers of calories and how much of that needs to be protein and carbs and things like that. So you're teaching them all this. You're trying to help as much as you can by NCAA rules with the food. And again, just we stress it every single day to make sure that they understand how important it is. And again, this fall, we went from like 18 guys had over 20% body fat to we're down to 4 now. And the gains that they've seen on the baseball field have been the same. So the guys that have really changed their bodies have made huge strides on the baseball field, whether their velos went up or their power numbers went up, or whatever the case is. And so it was great to have that. I mean, that's a big part of it, to see somebody lose a lot of weight, gain velo, understand that the mass on their body wasn't why they were throwing hard, and then be able to hold that velo over the course of a game and over a course of a month or whatnot. And so that was good to see the guys to see that from some of the guys that made the biggest changes. And again, that's just a great teaching tool for them to understand how important it is. So it's been something that we stress every day, but for me, a huge deal. And the same thing with weightlifting. We got to lift, and we want to be stronger, and we got to make sure that our muscles are just as big and strong in May than they are today. And so obviously we do it smart. We understand the timing of it, and there's certain days where we got to do certain things, and certain days we got to back off. But Jamie does a phenomenal job of taking care of that.
Are those other 4 guys getting close to under 20?
Yes.
Okay, good. They got a little bit more time before the season starts.
Everybody's moving in a positive direction. There's some guys that we need to go the opposite direction. There's some guys that are 4 or 5% body fat that just worries me, that we need to get up into the 6 to 8 to 10% body fat. So we got guys going in the right direction. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so that's good. I mean, that's where we need to be.
You might have some of our fans want to sign up for that Get Under 20% Body Fat program you've got going there. Let's dig deeper into this year's team. How's the starting pitching looking, especially knowing Cree Frinfrock is out with the injury?
Yeah, again, I think the guys have done really well. I'm really excited. Robbie Howell, Juan Pimentel, Jason Barr, Chris Williams, Bryce Tucker. Those guys have really stood out in terms of the starting rotation. I don't think we've really narrowed down the order and all that kind of stuff. First week we have 4 games, and the next 2 weeks we have 5 games. So they'll all be pitching those 5 games unless something crazy happens or whatnot. But those 5 guys have really stood out. Really happy. Again, Robbie Howell's been a guy that's lost 35 pounds. His velo's up a little bit, but obviously has had success, knows what it's like to pitch at this level. Juan Pimentel's done a phenomenal job with his body. Seen probably the biggest velo increase of all of our guys. And for a senior to have that kind of velo, I think was a good proof in the pudding kind of thing of the nutrition, because he was a guy that has really changed his body as well. And Jason Barr and Chris Williams, Jason Barr wasn't even on the team last year, was cut, and has done a phenomenal job in all fall, and the last 2 weekends has done a phenomenal job. And Chris Williams, I think Justin Parker, a pitching coach, has really done a phenomenal job of developing these guys in a really small amount of time. And it sucks, a lot of them are, especially Robbie and Juan, are seniors, and they're not going to get to have multiple years with Justin, but Bryce Tucker's seen a 6-mile-an-hour velo hike, changed his body, and again, just the weightlifting and whatnot, and allowing him to be a little bit more free and individualized. So those 5 guys have really stood out for the starting rotation.
All right, I got a 2-part question here for you now. Mm-hmm. You've mentioned in this interview multiple times velo. For people that don't understand what that is, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just talking about velocity, so just how hard they're throwing. So, obviously, the harder you throw, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have more success. It does usually allow you to have a little bit more you don't have to be as perfect sometimes and as whatnot. But at the same time, it's not just the only thing. You can throw. There's plenty of guys in the big leagues that throw 98 miles an hour that have really high ERAs, and there's guys that throw 88 miles an hour, which would be very, very low for a big leaguer that have a ton of success. So that's not the number one thing. But if you have a guy like a Bryce Tucker, who was more of like a soft lefty, who was 84, 85 miles an hour and had a good breaking ball, some changeup, could be able to pitch in and out, and then all of a sudden you add velo to that. Now you got the same pitcher with throwing harder. That's a big difference. So we're not talking about just guys that, hey, just throw it up there as hard as you can. Don't worry about hitting your spots or not having an off-speed pitch. You're taking guys that already had that learned to pitch at a lower velocity, and now they've worked hard in the weight room, nutritionally, and doing the things that they're working on with Coach Parker mechanically and taking care of their arms, and they're seeing that success, and so they're really starting to step up their game, which is big. And I think that when you look at pitching coaches that can develop that kind of stuff, it really is something positive for the kids.
The season opener is just around the corner. Have you settled on positions, or are there still some battles going on?
I think there's still some battles, especially in the outfield, DH, first base. I probably got 11 or 12 hitters that I really trust right now, really believe in. And so, we've got a lot of returners coming back too, but there's been some guys that, have really stepped up and done a good job, and we definitely have some options out there. Some left-handed hitters, some right-handed hitters, are able to platoon some guys if we need to early on in the season, just to kind of see again. The one thing that's different for me is usually you kind of know 60 to 70% of your team going into the season, like they're returners. At least, you've seen them compete. You know what they can do in a game, and then hopefully you've seen them grow over the last 6-7 months from the summer to the fall, and you kind of know like what their competitive nature is, what happens when the competitive juices start flowing. What are they like? And then you kind of have the new guys that you're trying to fit in and learn. Well, I'm trying to learn 35 new players where I have no idea when the lights turn on what they're going to be like. I've seen them in the fall if there's less stress and less pressure and all of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys now when they actually have somebody else on the other side and they're competing. And there's always guys that play better when the lights go on, and then there's obviously the opposite. So I'm excited for that. But there's definitely some battles out there that are still to be won, and those battles will be going on the whole year. Every day I reevaluate and try to figure out what's the best lineup for us to try to win this game, and that might change week to week, day to day, month to month, just kind of depending how guys are doing and how hard they're working, and especially where their mental game is, and if are they there, or are they so frustrated that they can't get out of their own way. So I try to watch all that stuff to try to determine, because I owe it to all 35 guys to make sure we go out there and put the best team out there. So I got to make sure I make the right decisions for all the guys so that we can win.
Well, wrapping up now, as far as the expectations game goes, what's your message to the fan base? What should they expect from UCF baseball this season under Greg Lovelady's direction?
I think it's going to be a lot more fun. I think the guys are going to go out there and play with a lot of energy, give them a lot of freedom, a lot of individuality. I want the guys, this is supposed to be the most exciting time of their lives. So try not to restrict them too much. Let them go out and play and have fun and play the game hard. We'll do everything about us. We'll worry about us and try to make an exciting product on the field. But I think we're going to have competitive guys. I think we're got a chance to win some games. And I definitely think that it's going to be a really exciting brand. And again, just try to go out and entertain and do that for the fans and the people that come out and support us. And again, for the alums and all the people that are there, we want to make sure that we owe it to them to go out there and play our hardest, do what we can, have fun, put on a good show, and try to win some ball games.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to covering it. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by Knightline. We wish you all the best of luck in the coming season.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Go Knights and charge on.
The Knights look to improve upon last season's 25-34 record. Opening night, Friday, February 17th against Siena. First pitch at Jay Bergman Field, set for 6:30 p.m.